Finally, we're seeing Luffy snap in Gear 5. No laughter, no playing around, just pure anger. And what he does next? He completely destroys Imu's shadow. At the same time, Chopper is out here doing something completely unexpected. He's not just a cute doctor anymore, he's basically a walking anti-Domi Reversi system now. And Imu finally makes a move. Not from the shadows anymore, but directly on the battlefield, trying to control everything. Oh, and we're even getting those pre-time skip vibes back, with Nami straight up scolding Luffy again, and Ragnar trying to calm him down. Let's break it down. The chapter opens in Elbaph's western village, and right away things are chaotic. We see the giant adults scrambling, trying to carry injured people and children into their homes while escaping danger. But at the same time, Colin and the other kids, they're actually excited, watching the battle unfold. Meanwhile, the demonized giant warrior pirates start trying to convince Dory and Brogy to rejoin them. They claim that this new body they've gained is incredibly strong, it regenerates, and cannot be defeated. They even say that they feel liberated from the concept of good and evil. Then suddenly, one of the demonized giants attacks Dory with a trident, completely destroying his shield and piercing straight through his forearm. But even after taking that damage, Dory just looks at him and mocks him. He says, "Look at how you submit to a new master," and calls it a stain on the name of giants. And that's when everything snaps. Dory, Brogy, Hazardin, and Stanson, all of them lose it. They shout, "Shame on you." They call them out for submitting to evil, and right there, they prepare to fight back. Now we cut to the elevator area where Chopper is taking care of the injured Goblin, and things here are just as tense. Kashi is being cornered by two demonized giants, and they're not just attacking him, they're trying to recruit him. Goblin warns that if Kashi gets surrounded, he'll turn into a demon too. Chopper tells him to fight back, but Kashi can't do it. He just can't bring himself to hurt his old friend. Back in the western village, Brogy steps in. He confronts the demonized Gantonio, and this part is wild. He literally vents his anger about something as simple as food, saying he always took more than his share, and then just bisects him. Hazardin uses a brand new move, Gungnir, and completely blasts another giant. Dory follows up with Ikoku Sovereignty, an attack we've seen before, and once again splits a giant in two. Another giant comes in with a gigantic drum attack and tears a demonized giant apart. And then, Zoro steps in. He uses a brand new move, three-sword style, red over Mega Rage. We've never seen this before, it's similar to what he used against King, but this time, it's even more brutal. Even Jurul, while praising their power, feels uneasy at how eagerly they are committing to this massacre. Now back to Kashi's situation. He's about to get hit, and Chopper is telling him to run, but Kashi still doesn't move. He just can't fight back. As Goblin is about to retaliate, Chopper eats a rumble ball and transforms into Monster Point. He grows massive and slaps one of the giants with full force. But the giant says he didn't feel anything at all. However, suddenly, a strange circle appears beneath him. He falls in and comes back out completely normal. The demonization is reversed. Everyone is shocked. It's not that Chopper's attack killed him. He was completely fine. But something about Chopper's ability triggered this transformation reversal. This suggests there's something special about Chopper's Devil Fruit. It raises many questions. Now it even makes sense why Blackbeard once went to Drum Island. There's definitely something deeper here. Now we shift to the Straw Hats near the Owl Library. And here, Killingham is already defeated. His body is completely cut apart. Only his head remains. But even in this state, he continues talking arrogantly. He calls Sanji and the others fiends and questions how they dare to raise their hands against gods. Despite being in such a condition, his arrogance remains. We see Jinbei holding Killingham's head while Sanji stands over his body, looking extremely dominant. Killingham insults Jinbei, questioning how a fishman dares to touch him. Jinbei shuts him down calmly, says he's talking too much for someone in his condition. Frankie suggests putting his body parts in boxes so they can't reconnect with his body. Sanji agrees and says that might be the only way to deal with them. Sanji also says it's hard to believe these people are God's knights, the ones protecting the Holy Land, because they seem weak. Frankie points out that the Straw Hats have become strong because they are now part of an emperor's crew. Sanji agrees, but says it still makes him angry that such weak people have caused so much chaos in Elbaph. Killingham warns them not to underestimate him. Jinbei then reminds everyone that there is still one enemy left, Gonko, who is being possessed by Imu, and they must stay alert. Meanwhile, Nami is feeding Zeus and ordering him to put out the remaining fires in Elbaph. And then, Loki arrives, with Luffy sitting on top of him. Luffy casually greets everyone from above, but the rest? They're shocked. Seeing Loki in that massive dragon form, they even compare him to a Sea King. Sanji's like, "Is that really Loki?" Frankie says his body looks cool, and Luffy just says, "Yeah, he's huge." But Nami, she's not impressed at all. She starts yelling at Luffy, saying, "You're making friends with weirdos again." Yes, he's taking out the monsters, but the flames he's spreading are making things worse. Don't you get it? She tells them. If they want to stop enemies, do it properly, not by burning the entire country. Luffy looks disappointed in this moment, and Ragnar the squirrel tries to calm him down. But then Luffy gets angry and blames Loki for everything. Loki fires back, says he only did it to destroy enemies. He attacks Luffy with a massive lightning bolt, but Luffy is completely unaffected because of his rubber body. Loki is shocked and asks why it doesn't work on you. Luffy replies, "It's just lightning. If it worked on me, I would have knocked you away already." And then, suddenly, Luffy senses something. We shift to Gunko, who is possessed by Imu, and this part is dark. Imu has already defeated Brook and Usopp. They're brutally injured. Brook tells Usopp to run, but Usopp refuses. He says a true warrior never runs away. He says he always dreamed of visiting Elbaph and doesn't want to disgrace himself by running. Usopp is furious. He calls out how the enemies are looking down on Elbaph warriors, kidnapping children and using underhanded tactics instead of fighting properly. He shouts at Imu, calling him a coward and saying he should fight fairly. Imu responds coldly, saying a ruler does not dirty their hands by fighting directly. This angers Usopp even more. He throws a skull bomb at Imu, but Imu quickly closes the distance and urges Usopp to fire it at point-blank range. The resulting explosion leaves Usopp even more severely injured. Imu takes some damage too, but regenerates instantly. And then, Luffy and Loki arrive. Loki says this is the one, the source of the haki that reached the underworld. But Luffy doesn't even look at Imu, he goes straight to his crewmates. He sees Usopp and Brook in that condition, and for the first time, Luffy is genuinely furious in Gear 5. No laughing, no joking. He says, "Loki, I'm really pissed right now." Loki responds that he also won't let them leave Elbaph alive. And then, Imu, through Gunko, declares, "Nika, Needhogger, whether you surrender or die, this battle will divide the world." And with that, the chapter ends here. Chapter 1178 wastes no time. We see Sanji's group still holding Killingham's head, and then Luffy arrives, flying in from a distance. He's carrying Usopp and Brook, both completely unconscious and heavily injured. Nami immediately gets worried. Luffy quickly tells him to take care of Usopp and Brook. Jinbei asks what exactly happened, but Luffy doesn't have time to explain. He's in a hurry to go back and fight. Frankie asks if he needs backup, and Luffy gives a very simple answer. "If things get worse, I'll call you. But for now, stay back, because Loki is about to go all out." Sanji responds sarcastically, saying, "Coming from you?" The scene shifts to Loki. We see Loki using a massive thunderball attack from his mouth, directly targeting Imu. But before the attack fully lands, Imu starts speaking. Imu says that a few years ago, a giant ship was spotted. The captain of that ship was extremely massive. Everyone aboard that ship moved through fog, and they only targeted one thing: the world government. They sank multiple government ships. Imu explains that at that time, there were reports of a flying giant creature, but people thought it was just a rumor. But now, seeing Loki, Imu realizes that wasn't a rumor, it was real. And right then, Loki's attack lands. We don't even properly see the impact, just pure destruction. Luffy sees this from afar and rushes in, saying he should be the one to take down Imu, not Loki. But after the attack ends, Imu is completely fine, no damage at all, still floating. At that moment, Luffy arrives and starts yelling at Imu for hurting his crewmates. But before Luffy can attack, something strange happens. We see black shadows emerging from Gunko's stomach. Luffy is shocked and says something is coming out of her body. And then, Imu forms a physical manifestation, similar to the God Valley shadow-like form, merging partially with Gunko. And in this form, Imu says, "It would be fitting if you both disappeared, just like rocks." Then, Imu attacks. Shadow tendrils shoot out and pierce both Luffy and Loki, clean through their bodies. And this activates something new, a Kuwaru. Imu explains it calmly. In exchange for part of their lifespan, they'll gain immense power, but at the cost of something terrifying. They'll be forced to hate each other and fight. And then, Domi Reversi is activated. But here's the twist, nothing happens. Luffy and Loki are confused. Luffy says he didn't feel any pain at all. They casually shake off the tendrils. Loki even gets annoyed and demands answers about rocks, and Imu is not surprised. He expected these two to be immune. Imu begins to explain why, but before he can finish, Luffy launches a Gear 5 Gatling attack. The panel shows Luffy punching through Imu's shadow body multiple times, completely tearing it apart, creating holes all over like donuts. And before Imu can recover, Loki steps in. He shifts back to his humanoid form, grabs Ragnar in hammer form, and tells Luffy to move. He delivers a massive blow, Nibelheim, directly onto Imu's shadow form. The attack freezes Imu and Gunko inside a huge block of ice. We see Gunko's body inside, with Imu's shadow partially fading. After this, Luffy asks Loki how he did that attack. But suddenly, Luffy runs out of energy and turns into his old drained form. Loki says freezing was the fastest way to deal with it. He also used a smaller, more manageable form because his giant dragon form was too massive and difficult to control in close combat. Now the scene expands across all of Elbaph. The giants are trying to put out the spreading fire, with the Straw Hats and Lilith also helping. Everyone is working together. The giants acknowledge that Loki saved them by destroying the dream monsters, but they are also annoyed because his lightning caused even more fire. They even admit they were wrong to suspect Loki of killing his father, but still criticize his recklessness. Now we move to Western Village. Zoro and the giant warrior pirates have turned most of the demonized giants back to normal. The restored giants apologize. They say they didn't do it willingly. Dory and Brogy tell them it's not their fault, they couldn't resist that power, but some are still demonized. Zoro prepares to handle the remaining ones, but then Chopper arrives. Then we see Chopper casually punching them one by one and turning them back to normal instantly. Zoro gets confused and asks what Chopper is doing. Chopper says he doesn't know either. Every time he punches them, they just return to normal. Zoro shrugs it off and says, "Is it because you're just a great doctor?" Chopper gets embarrassed and says not to praise him so much. Hadrudin asks about the situation, and they confirm that no visible enemies remain. Now the priority is putting out fires and checking if the Holy Knights are truly defeated. Then we move to the Owl Library. Robin and Saul arrive, but they are shocked. Not a single book is there. Despite the massive fire, not even one burnt book is found. All shelves are empty. Even Biblo the owl, the library's guardian, is gone. Saul is worried, but Robin suggests Biblo may have taken all the books to safety before the fire spread. But that raises a big question. Where is Biblo now? We return to Sanji's group. Sanji says, ever since they counterattacked, things have become easy. Frankie says it's not like this was an all-out war against a whole organization. Knights from the Holy Land or not, it was just 3 enemies. But still, those 3 were enough to throw an entire nation into chaos. Meanwhile, Killingham in his mind wonders, what happened to Great Emu? And then, recut to Summers, he is reduced to a separated head and a heart, but he starts reattaching himself, and we see something shocking. His heart is mechanical, not human. Meanwhile, Luffy is completely exhausted and unable to move. He asks Loki to get him food. Loki refuses and says, "Do you think I have food? Go to the village. And why do you look like that?" Luffy doesn't even respond. He just turns to Ragnar and asks him to get food instead. But while all of this is happening, inside the ice, Imu's shadow disappears, and no one notices. Then we cut to Mary Geoise, inside the flower chamber. Imu contacts the 5 elders and says, "I will be leaving the Holy Land for a time." And that line shocks them. And just like that, the chapter ends. Everything changes. Elbaph is burning, the Holy Knights are falling, and the war that will divide the world has begun. Luffy has reached a level even Imu can't easily break. Loki isn't a wild card anymore, he's a force shaking the world, and Imu is already making the next move. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, especially on Domi Reversi failing on Luffy and Loki, and what Imu was about to say. Until next time, keep that fire burning, and I'll see you in the next breakdown.